Hi, I'm Pamela Reed Sanchez, Director of Strategic Planning and Resource Development for George Eastman House, and we're here at Chautauqua for a week on photography, July 2010. I'm talking with Emmy and Peabody Award-winning David Friend. David is editor of creative development at Vanity Fair magazine and was director of photography for Life magazine. He's also author of the book Watching the World Change: The Stories Behind the Photographs of 9/11. One of the things we've been talking about this week, David, is some people claim that there's a lack of reference points that photojournalists have provided for us since 9/11. And you and I have argued a little bit about this, and I just wanted to hear your take on it again.
Well, I think that part of that this week came with Fred Richen's statement that we had a lot of photographic icons throughout history since the invention of the camera in 1826. But there are fewer working photojournalists today. I don't know that that's true, or that the key images are taken more by citizens and less by professionals, and therefore the images that get into the cultural stream are maybe less professionally taken or less impactful. But I think the news events are just as horrific and just as powerful, and have generated, about the same steady stream. We have so many images on 9/11, right. And you were talking about post 9/11, but I think we look at the images from the Gulf War, even though it was a set-up picture, the picture of Saddam Hussein's statue in Fidros Square, which became a touchstone. I think the Obama election and that poster hope with Shepard Fairey's taking the AP photographer's picture and doing something to it, made it it became, I think, quite an icon. There are screen grabs that have gone over the web that themselves became quasi-iconic. It's too soon to tell whether they will be iconic, such as the woman lying in the street in the Iranian protests last summer, mm-hmm. or the man who was beaten in, in Burma, and that picture which became, he was lying in the street. So I think there's a number of pictures where we don't know immediately, and there could be that as the digital age progresses, we will have less images that emerge from this mass of pictures, but I don't think so. I think there'll be many more touchstones.
This week's Time magazine has a cover photographed by Jody Bieber of a young woman named Aisha, who's 18 years old, who I believe the caption is "What happens if we leave Afghanistan?" or something like that. This is a woman who's had her nose and her ears cut off. It is a striking photograph. Some have called it sensationalist, some have called it exploitive. What's the line between exploitation, sensationalism, and just good photojournalism?
Well, I think that, it's sort of early to tell also if that's an iconic picture, but it's a very strong image. I think sometimes you have to shock people and shake people up, or else these atrocities continue to happen. I guess this woman was held down and her nose cut off as and I guess her ears as retribution. And unless you see it, unless we saw the videos under the that were snuck out by a women's group, I forget the name of the group, of the Taliban's beating and stoning women, we would not have believed it. I think there's some absolutely stunning images that shock you. I remember the New York Times Sunday magazine on its front cover did a picture in mid-90s of a model. I think her name was, I don't know, Verushka. I'm trying to think what her name was. She had breast cancer, and she posed with her breast removed on the cover of the magazine. It was a self-portrait, and it was extremely provocative, but it sort of helped people face what the realities of the scarification that comes from a double mastectomy, and it was extremely, um, it's not necessarily what you want to see on the Sunday morning over the coffee table or over the breakfast table. So you have to wake people up, or else they're not going to address things. And I think photography sometimes is the most direct way to do that.
What's the role that time and distance play in our ability to look at photographs? I'm thinking specifically of the picture of the man plummeting from the World Trade Center, which we were sort of collectively unable to look at in the days following 9/11. You reproduced it in your book, which was published 5 years after the event, and we seem able to look at it today. Why is that?
Um, I still don't think it's used too often. I don't think it's seen too often. I mean, it's in textbooks. I think it's in Europe and other places they look at it, but I don't think the U.S. still has. I don't think America has the stomach for it. So the image has not done well. I've talked to Richard Drew, and who photographed that for the Associated Press, and I think he feels it's still the greatest. It's one of those great photos never seen. There were really 12 frames, and the guy's flailing around in all the other pictures. The difference in looking at a video of people plummeting from the towers versus the still picture is that a picture, a video brings you back into the maelstrom, and everything's happening so fast. You're asking so many questions. What, my God, what happened? And it is impossible to look at. A still decontextualizes this moment from all the moments before and after, and you're able to process it in a slower way and in a different way, and you're able to ask maybe deeper questions and relate to it in a way that is not as off-putting, even though it is still horrific.
Thank you, David, for joining us. It's been a real pleasure to be with you this week and for spending some time with you this morning here in the interview room.
Well, I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate the hospitality at Chautauqua, Kodak's, and Eastman House help during the course of the week. Thank you.